Coming up, something that was initially thought to be anti-Semitic vandalism turned out to be ruled otherwise. And we take a look at how President Trump is changing the perceptions of the media.
Later, learn from a campus police officer on what to do in the case of an active shooter.
From KKNC at Kansas State University, serving Manhattan and the Flint Hills family. This is MHK All Day.
Welcome back to another episode of MHK All Day. I'm your host, Isabel Lobby. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Coming up in the show, we have a campus police officer joining us to tell you what to do in case of an active shooter. And later, we have live reptiles in studio, and we'll tell you about them. To get even more MHK All Day, check us out on Facebook and Twitter at MHK All Day. Last week, Kansas State University reported vandalism to a sukkah that was placed on K-State campus for support of the Jewish community. Moments away, we have an interview with a graduate student who is here to talk about how the community joined together. Those in attendance walked as one from Bosco Plaza to the sukkah to enjoy a meal together as a sign of unity. The sukkah is a temporary gathering place constructed by Hillel, which is a Jewish student organization at K-State. It is a place for people to get together to eat meals during the 8-day Jewish holiday of Sukkot. One of the individuals who helped bring the sukkah to campus found it wrapped around his car. Rabbi Neil Schuster traveled from Lawrence to speak at the Solidarity Dinner and was moved by the overwhelming amount of support shown by the K-State community.
So many people came together, and such a diverse group of people, that it really means a lot, and it means a lot to feel that sense of support, of not being alone in whatever this was that happened, and people coming together really to stand together and to stand up and say, we don't want things to be like this.
And just hours ago, the Kansas State University Police Department concluded that the vandalism was due to severe weather. Eyewitnesses reported that they saw the sukkah tumbling in the wind with no one around it. The case is now considered closed. And now I'm joined with Glen Burkewood, who thinks that they might have played out differently. Glenn, do you agree with the ruling of K-State?
Thanks for having me on, Isabel.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I think that the police department has come to the closure of their investigation, and we may not know whatever happened in between the sukkah going through the trees and finding its way around my car. I think one of the most important things to really take away from what happened this week is that we have a community both in Manhattan and our college campus that still is going to be feeling the emotional toll of what was perceived and what some believe was a hate crime on campus. The police investigation's closure doesn't resolve those emotions, and while it might have been due to wind, I think we still have a community that needs to be supported. And based on Wednesday night, having over 250 individuals from the Manhattan and K-State community, including the top administration at Kansas State, I think is the representative support of what Kansas State is all about, coming together, supporting a community, supporting our students, and supporting the greater Manhattan and Kansas Jewish community. And I think that is probably one of the biggest takeaways we can really identify as a positive in response to what happened.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned, because earlier this week, UFM brought a special speaker to Forum Hall in the Union as a part of continuing lecture series. MHK All Day reporter Grant Nicholson has more.
On Tuesday, University for Man hosted guest speaker Charles Blow as part of the Lou Douglas Lecture Series. The series aims to bring in guests that promote diverse political, social, and economic ideas to further the education and awareness for the Manhattan community and Kansas State students alike.
Helping students, developing conversations, looking at social justice, and trying to improve conditions for people. And so as a result of the support that he gave to us, we are honoring him with the Lou Douglas Lecture Series.
Charles Blow, who visited on Tuesday, is a renowned New York Times columnist. His lecture took aim at the 2016 election and how the media influenced the results, and he took special aim at one famous tweeter. Now, if you hold on, let me finish this post.
How President Trump interacts with and is portrayed by the media was a major talking point from Mr. Blow, who spent much of his time in the question and answer period after his lecture. Some of the more interesting portions of the evening took place when those who disagreed with Mr. Blow took the mic. After the event, Mr. Blow talked about the importance of civil discourse and listening to those who they disagree with.
As long as the discourse is honest and earnest, and people are actually interested in both expressing an opinion and receiving yours, I don't see a problem. You can do that respectfully. That's not a problem.
Charles Blow's lecture was the second installment of the Lou Douglas Lecture Series this semester and will continue later this academic year. In Manhattan, Grant Nicholson, MHK, All Day.
For more information on activities and events like these, like the Lou Douglas Lecture Series, go to tryufm.org. Safety at Kansas State University is a #1 priority, and K-State students and faculty had the opportunity to attend a presentation on sexual assault and violence. The presentation was in partnership with K-State Safe Zone, a program that services to create allies for oppressed and marginalized groups. Officer Randy Miles of the K-State Police Department gave the presentation. The program included information about rape culture, misconceptions about sexual violence, and the resources that are available to students and faculty. Officer Miles detailed the statistics about the occurrence of sexual violence on campus and showed examples in the media of rape culture being propagated. Officer Miles also gave information on being active against sexual violence if you witness someone being assaulted.
So we try to make sure that we get this out there, and we like to make sure we let people know that we like them to be active bystanders. And if you see something, say something, and trust your instincts, because we want people to understand that if you see something, you might think it's small, but it could be something really big.
Speaking of safety, after the recent shootings in towns with other Big 12 universities like KU and Texas Tech, some students may wonder what to do in case of a shooter. MHK reporter Reyna Garcia went down to Aggieville to ask students what they would do if a shooting occurred in Aggieville.
During a night out, the last thing anyone expects is for the night to end in gun violence. With the recent shootings in Lawrence, on the Texas Tech campus, and in Las Vegas, having a plan for what to do in the event of an active shooter has become more important than ever. So you're out at your favorite hotspots with some of your friends. For many K-Staters, it's Aggieville. But what would you do if gunfire broke out? Where would you go? Would you know the steps to take to make it out safely? We asked some people what they would do in that situation.
I think I would just call 911 and hide and find a place somewhere safe to stay until the shooting stopped.
I try to sit where I can see the door, see a window or an exit. I don't really know what I would do if there was an active shooter, but I like to just keep my eye out for it.
Whether it's in Aggieville, on campus, or at a music festival, shootings can happen anywhere at any time. While there's no way to predict them, having a plan may provide a better chance to make it out safely. I'm joined here with Officer Randy Miles from the K-State Police Department. Thank you so much for joining us today, Officer Miles.
Thank you for having me.
So say we're out in an open area such as this and a shooting breaks out. What are some of the steps people can take to make it out safely?
Well, the first thing we like to tell people is to get to somewhere safely as possible. And then from there, for them to contact the local authorities.
Okay. And so how important is it for people to maybe have a plan in place in case this situation happens?
Well, we have a class that we teach here on K-State called ALICE. It stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. We teach this class to members of the K-State community to give them a proactive choice to what to do, how to respond in an active shooter.
And how long have you been having these classes?
The ALICE class has been going on for about 4 years now. We've been teaching the K-State community how to do that.
Okay, and do you yourself teach some of these classes?
Yes, I am one of the instructors of the ALICE trainings.
And take me through some of the
the activities you guys do and kind of the things you teach them in the class?
So ALICE stands, as acronym, stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. Alert is basically for you to alert first responders and get them en route. Lockdown, if you had to, lock yourself down in place. Inform everybody that's in the building or the area. Counter, if you had to fight a actor shooter, tell you what to do if you had to do that. And evacuate, if you had to get out the area, it teaches you what to do in that time too.
And about how many students or community members do you see at these trainings?
We see a good mixture. Our average class range between 20 and 30 individuals that attend the class, and we usually have classes between 2 to 3 times a month.
Okay, and if people want to take this class, how can they register? Where can they find that information?
They can simply just go to the K-State Police Department website, www.kstate.edu/police, and they can get information there on how to sign up for the classes.
Okay, and is there like a specific age range for the class, or is it just kind of open?
No, there is no age range. If you are a member of the K-State community, you can sign up to take this class.
Okay, great. And kind of just going back to what we were talking about, how important could this training be if they find themselves in this situation?
Again, it's a proactive choice for them to help them survive an active shooter. So we're teaching them skills to help them out and knowing what to do during that time. We like to tell people that they can survive an active shooter.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, Officer Miles. Back to you, Isabel.
Up next, we take a look at some controversy surrounding a very popular video game. And also, we give you your weekly tech update.
What a coach, what a program. Oh, they give him the dunks. He gets number 200. Now he's going to throw far side. Jordy's got it against the lead 40. Here comes Lockett. Look out. He can move. He was drilled by Reggie Walker. On the field, perfect throw. Pringle down the sideline. Touchdown.
I know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
We'll carry thy banner high. Long, long, may thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
I'm Ngọc Trân from Đà Lạt, Việt Nam.
I'm Raphael from St. Mary's, Kansas.
Mình nói cả tiếng Việt và tiếng Anh.
I only speak one language, unless you count Pig Latin. Oh, you don't? Okay, one language.
I'm new to K-State and want to experience everything I can in Manhattan.
I'm hungry. Do you want to go eat some ice cream?
Sure.
Become an international buddy today and develop new friendships and experience different cultures.
How do you say Wabash in your language?
What's a Wabash?
Welcome back. What if you found out that you were put into a video game as a character? Brittany Reed has the story.
A new Call of Duty video game is being released on November 3rd. Players got a chance to play a demo of the game in August, but it has received some criticisms. In the past, the games have stirred some controversy. For example, one of them is known to get pretty dark in some of the roles players have to take on. With this new World War II game, there has been some backlash with its representations of real people and real events.
The question is, when does art and video games go too far? Is too realistic too far?
John Zoll, who served his country for 12 years in the Army and Marines, shared his thoughts about the matter.
I really didn't have a problem with it. I could see both sides of the controversy, but as far as like banning a video game or anything like that, it's kind of hard for me to swallow after serving to protect those rights of free speech and First Amendment, so I can't really advocate for that.
However, he also said that you need to look at these reenactments as something that was actually real and traumatic for soldiers. A gaming talk show host shared some insight on why a video game producer may want such realistic events and people.
The beginning of the Call of Duty franchise came out of a bunch of people working on another game called Medal of Honor. They didn't feel it was realistic enough, and they wanted to add their own flair to it, and they wanted to be as realistic as possible because they knew that in this growing field of video games and first-person shooters specifically, they would be able to script these amazing battle sequences.
Thinking about the Call of Duty games and their content, what would your call be? In Manhattan, I'm Brittany Reed, MHK All Day.
When it releases, Call of Duty World War II will be the 15th game in the franchise. That's not all that's happening in the world of technology. Reporter Maya Hodge has more.
Thank you, Isabel. That's right, there's a lot of new stuff happening. First, SpaceX rocket launches this week to help pave the way to Mars. Elon Musk's space company has a busy week with hopes to keep ramping up the pace of launches until they're off this planet. By 2019, SpaceX hopes to achieve an average of a launch a week. And beyond 2019, the pace of launches is set to pick up even more as Musk builds toward his grand vision of colonizing other parts of the solar system, starting with the moon and Mars. On Wednesday, Google took the wraps off its new Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL phones, the sequels to the first ever Google-designed Android handsets. Both devices look sharp, minimal, and sport what the company says is one of the best mobile cameras on the market, with original Pixel buyers able to testify the device's skills in the picture-taking department. The Pixel 2 starts at $650 and can get as expensive as $950 for the 128GB Pixel 2 XL. And with new phones comes new apps. Next up, I'll be talking to a representative of a new app called Curtsy. That and more after the break.
What a coach, what a program. Oh, they give him the dunks. He gets number 200. Now he's going to throw far side. Jordy's got it against the lead 40. Here comes Lockett. Look out. He can move. He was drilled by Reggie Walker. On the field, perfect throw. Pringle down the sideline. Touchdown.
Know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
We'll carry thy banner high. Long, long. May thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
I'm Ngọc Trân from Đà Lạt, Vietnam.
I'm Raphael from St. Mary's, Kansas.
Mình nói cả tiếng Việt và tiếng Anh.
I only speak one language, unless you count pig Latin. Oh, you don't? Okay, one language.
I'm new to K-State and want to experience everything I can in Manhattan.
I'm hungry. Do you want to go eat some ice cream?
Sure.
Become an international buddy today and develop new friendships and experience different cultures.
How do you say Wabash in your language?
What's a Wabash?
It seems like every day there is someone creating a new app, from apps that help you study and to apps that helps deliver food to your door. Just about every day, an app is created and provides a great service for students. A new app allows local women to rent their clothing to other women in their area. Today in studio, we have Carolina Lasman, the Kansas State University representative for the new app Courtesy. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, how did you get involved with Curtsy?
So I actually have a friend that goes to Arkansas, and she was the campus director for Curtsy in Arkansas, and she was always like posting about it on social media and everything. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, how can I get this to K-State? I think it would do really well, and girls would definitely love the app. And then we just got started that way, and I ended up being the campus director for Kansas State. So I just kind of found it through like social media and people that like I knew from back home.
And so it is just tailored for universities?
Yes, right now it's just on like college campuses and mainly for like those girls that are going to like day parties and all of that. So it's mainly college right now, but I could see them definitely like expanding in the future.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I know for me, if one of my friends wants to borrow one of my outfits, I just let them. I don't even charge them. So why would you guys charge them?
Well, I feel like with this, it's more like a broader spectrum of girls. So like there's people that you don't know and you maybe see them on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever and say like, oh, that's a really cool outfit. I wish I could borrow that without it being like weird that I'm approaching her. So I think through the app, it's definitely nice because it's a way to do it without having to have like the personal like friend thing, you know? So like you actually get money for it instead of just, or since it's like strangers, you know, it's a little better because you don't have to have like the face-to-face, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it definitely makes sense. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And that is all the time that we have today. I do want to just again, thank you for being here and sharing all that information with us. And ladies, if you're wanting to find a cute outfit for the day, definitely download the Curtsy app and shop away. Back to you, Isabel.
Thanks, Maya. I will definitely be downloading that app. What a great way to get new clothes. Right after the break, we'll tell you how one K-State student turned his love for reptiles into a business. And we'll even learn about a few reptiles.
What a coach, what a program. Oh, they give him the dunks. He gets number 200. Now he's going to throw far side. Jordy's got it against the lead 40. Here comes Lockett. Look out. He can move. He was drilled by Reggie Walker. Field, perfect throw, Pringle down the sideline, touchdown.
I know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
Will carry thy banner high. Long, long, may thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
I'm Ngọc Trân from Đà Lạt, Vietnam.
I'm Raphael from St. Mary's, Kansas.
Mình nói cả tiếng Việt và tiếng Anh.
I only speak one language, unless you count pig Latin. Oh, you don't? Okay, one language.
I'm new to K-State and want to experience everything I can in Manhattan.
I'm hungry. Do you want to go eat some ice cream?
Sure.
Become an international buddy today and develop new friendships and experience different cultures.
How do you say Wabash in your language?
What's a Wabash?
Imagine being both a college student and an owner of your own business. That's the story for Kansas State student Colin Cudney. MHK reporter Darielle Nixon has more.
Biology, while also co-owning his own business, Reptile World. Reptile World is a reptile pet store that contains a huge collection of animals, some common and some so rare that they can't even be found in zoos. Although Colin is a college student, he says his love for animals started at a young age.
When I was a kid, I always really loved animals and I wanted to be a vet and everything. And when I was in Boy Scouts, I took this badge that was a reptile and amphibian study badge. And I just really liked the fact that you could keep a reptile as a pet, and it didn't take nearly as much work as a cat or a dog, and you didn't have to put in the time every day, and they just kind of were there, and you could watch them and observe and learn about them.
Colin says that one of the main focuses is to stress the importance that reptiles like this guy right here are not scary animals to be feared, but can actually make great pets.
The awareness that they're not aggressive, mean animals that are just nasty by nature, that reptiles really are just very misunderstood, and educating people is the best way to get rid of fear, because fear is just not knowing about them.
In Manhattan, I'm Dario Nixon, MHK All Day. I'm here now in studio with Colin Cudney. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
And he has brought some animals for us to learn about, so let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, so I brought a few different things. Some of them you may have seen before, some of you haven't. So this right here is a pretty unique animal. If you can see its face right here, this is actually a legless lizard. So it looks like a snake, but it has adapted to lose its legs, sort of like a snake. But they actually have eyelids and external ears, and they eat insects like lizards do, unlike snakes. So it's a pretty unique animal there.
That is completely different.
Yeah.
Let me see, I'm
Cool little guy there.
For a little bit. Oh my goodness.
So something that you guys might have seen before, this is a bearded dragon. So this is a lizard just like these guys. They are actually closer related to each other than snakes are to them.
Crazy.
And so yeah, we can just set him back in his little container there. But so this is a bearded dragon. Most people have seen these before. Pretty cool lizard here, very friendly. The third most popular pet in America right now behind cats and dogs. So very, very cool, very calm, very easy to take care of. Super, super good pets right here. I've actually had this one right here since I was a kid. So
how big does he get?
He's fully grown. He's actually a pretty big bearded dragon. He's spoiled. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this guy right
here.
here.
So this is a ball python, a piebald ball python. So these guys right here, I'll let you hold them there if you want to. This is a fully grown ball python right here, and probably the most popular pet in the reptile pet industry right now for a lot of reasons. One, they only get this big. Two, they don't move very much. You see, he's very calm. And they're just a very easy to take care of animal. So a lot of people find these easy to work with and kind of get over their fear of snakes at that. So a pet that most people would want to keep right here, and I'm going to show you another snake that most people shouldn't keep as a pet, but we have at our store for educational research, just use for people to kind of get to understand these animals. So I brought Twinkie with me here today, and Twinkie is an albino Burmese python. She is not fully grown actually, if you believe it or not, but she is about 150 pounds, and she is about 13 feet long. So these guys are the ones that you see on the news about being invasive down in Florida. And it's just a matter of keeping them properly and knowing what you're getting into. But definitely not an animal that most people should keep at their house. Don't worry about her there. But she's super friendly. I take her to all kinds of educational events, kids' birthday parties, things like that. So she gets a lot of attention from people that don't know anything about reptiles. So she's very friendly. She's a puppy dog. She's gonna just keep growing for me. But
so how big will she eventually get?
She could hit 20 feet.
20?
Yeah.
How big is she right now?
She's about 12. So
she's about 12?
Around there. I haven't actually, it's kind of difficult to really measure her, but you can see she's wrapped around me. She's holding on to me. I'm not holding on to her. So
that's pretty amazing. So you said these three can be pets?
Oh, definitely. These two right here are the most popular pets in the reptile industry. A lot of people want to get something like this, but don't really realize what they're getting into. It's kind of like keeping a horse in your house. You know, it's just not something that you should do.
All right, well, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you for tuning in next week. Thanks for tuning in today. Come in next week for more MHK All Day.